How's it going? So I want to talk about real quick about people who tell you that you can carry games in League of Legends. Okay, so let's get something straight. These guys are trying to sell you the course, right? So they are motivated financially to tell you, to make you believe that you can carry the game in League of Legends. Okay? Now, let's get something straight. League of Legends has decided who have the biggest shitter on the team, right? We know that, and I'll prove it to you. Okay, so I just made a video where I got CC'd by Gragas for 7 seconds with 2 items, right? Everfrost and Athena Chains. He simply built a lot of ability haste, and he was able to lock me down and prevent me from playing the game. So think about it this way, right? This is you, and this is like enemy team, okay? There's 5 of them. And this is your, we call this a box. This is your team. Right? So this could be Gragas, and let's say this could be some kind of heavy CC jungler, or let's say Leona. Okay, Leona isn't here. Let's say support. Now these 2 champions alone can absolutely cancel you from the game, because you're gonna get locked in a CC chain forever. Because you have to understand, by the time Gragas cooldowns are gonna expire, well, they're gonna go on cooldowns, Leona cooldowns are gonna be available. So she's gonna permanently CC you. When her cooldowns are down, his cooldowns are up. He's gonna permanently CC you. So unless these guys are somehow useful and can fight these guys, you cannot do anything. Okay? You cannot do anything. Because what's happening is these guys are effectively canceling you out of the game. This is what happens. You can do it also through split pushing. This is another way of doing it, right? You can, for example, take a top laner and a jungler and split push. Well, what I'm saying is basically you can do it this way as well. This is you, and let's say this is Kha'Zix. Let's say this is Kha'Zix here. Okay? When you split push as a Tryndamere, let's say you are strong enough that you can kill Gragas on your own. So what happens is, usually it's some kind of a jungler, or sometimes it could be mid laner. Let's say, I don't know, Viktor. Let's take Viktor here. Okay? So what's gonna happen is, these 2, you're gonna be in a stalemate, where you're trying to take their inhibitor or the turret, and Gragas and Viktor are just wave clearing and trying to chase you down permanently, right? So they cannot really kill you, because if they overstep outside the turret, you can kind of kill Gragas or possibly kill Viktor and run away, right? So what happens is, again, you are not in the game, neither is their top laner and the mid laner. So unless your team can 4v3, you cannot win the game. I already tried it multiple times. You cannot win the game, right? And this happens a lot of the times where your team is so bad that they cannot even 4v3. You know that because of the dragons, because they're so behind on experience, they're so behind on items, they're so behind on objectives. They simply, and they're not coordinated. Somebody is just dying non-stop, right? Under these conditions, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot win the game. So that's what I'm saying, is that this game is not really, you're not really playing the game, you're just rotating the system. Because if we create a system where we put you into this scenario, you are going to lose 100% of the time. 100% of the time, right? There is no counterplay to this scenario. I spoke to some, I don't know, top tier players, like challenger players. I mean, some of them are like, oh yeah, there is maybe something I could have done better. Dude, okay, he's playing Tryndamere, the other guy is playing Malphite, right? You can kill Malphite 3 to 4 times, right? And unless your team is competent, he will eventually outscale you, because he is specifically designed to counter Tryndamere, right? He goes tank, he gets 500 armor, you're not gonna kill him. You're not gonna kill Malphite, right? So, I was watching a specific game, and that scenario happened, where Malphite died 4 times, Uli was the player, he's a Tryndamere main, right? And his team was feeding their asses off. And he was alone in the whole game. So what happened was Malphite got too much armor, Malphite got all the dragons, 2 of them were Earth Dragons, so Malphite got even more armor, then they got the Dragon Soul, and that was game over. That's it, right? So what I'm saying is, there is no skill that you can develop where you can actually outplay this scenario, right? So all of this, people are telling you, they are trying to convince you that you can somehow outplay this scenario. This scenario is not possible to beat. Do you understand? Right? So you can train all you like. You can practice. I mean, there have been people, they've been playing this game for 14 years, and they still cannot, I repeat, cannot beat this scenario, right? Faker himself cannot do it. And he has like, what, 53% win rate. Do you understand? If there was an out from this situation where you could somehow outplay this scenario, I promise you, I would have found it by now, right? Faker would have for sure found it by now, right? And we would have people with 98% win rate, right? But unfortunately, you cannot do it, right? You just cannot do it. It's very simple, because crowd control is a big issue. It's a very, very big problem. Crowd control, right? Some will tell you positioning, some will tell you, oh, you need to farm perfectly, you need to do this, you need to do that. Dude, if they have Gragas, if they have Nautilus, if they have some Leona, right, they can stop you from playing, right? And if that is possible, right, you cannot carry, because you are going to be locked in a CC chain forever. And I repeat this again, forever. You cannot move, your keyboard doesn't work. How are you going to carry when your keyboard is not working? Right? So all this garbage that I see in here, they're like, oh, this and that, and then I carry, and then I just win, and blah, blah, blah. Dude, okay? You're still gonna end up with like 70% win rate, right? That means, like this guy here. What's his name? Where was he? I saw him in here, and I was just like, dude, really? Where was he? J something. Yeah, this guy here. Look, this guy here. So he's saying, okay, I can carry the games, blah blah blah. I'm such a master, and you guys are all suck. Okay, let's look at something straight. Let's use logic. Okay, number one, he's Asian, right? He's probably Korean. We know that Koreans are genetically predisposition to play League of Legends really, really well. Something about their genetics that just makes it easier for them to grasp the game. Okay? Number one. Number two, he is a full-time streamer and plays the game full-time. Right? That's his job. So he sits every day for the whole day, probably 10 years now, and be playing the same game. Right? And if you look at the score, if you look at the score, he is still, most of the games, he's still hard carrying the game. Right? He's hard carrying the game. So, and this is iron and bronze. So imagine somebody tells you, oh yeah, you can win a game. I can show you how to win 100% games in iron and bronze, but you have to quit your job, become Asian, right? Must be below the age of 20, because after 24 your reflexes are gonna slow down, right? Because it's just age. I mean, after 24 your reflexes just go. It's been scientifically proven. I can tell you myself, right? Because I'm definitely over 25. Right, and you do feel it. You do feel the difference. Like, you will notice that you don't really want to play Aurelia. You want to play shit like Nasus, because it's much slower. Stuff like Aurelia, it's just so fast. You have to respond to so many things. It's just like your brain just says, "Oh, come on, dude, I don't want to do that." Right? It's just your brain just becomes different, right? And right, and you're still gonna end up probably on 80% win rate. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you waste your life like this? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why would you do that? So you can what? Carry some shitters in bronze and iron. For what? Like, I don't get it. For what, right? All of this shit is completely rigged, right? If it requires you to be like, this guy is probably like some kind of prodigy of the game, right? And he still sometimes loses the games, right? So I'm telling you, it's a waste of your time. You cannot carry games. You cannot carry games in League of Legends, right? It's just not gonna happen. Simple answer: crowd control. Crowd control is the problem, right? And I'm sick and tired of these people kind of trying to sell you this garbage, absolute garbage, telling you that you can somehow do it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like trying to sell you the dream of looking ripped like a supermodel bodybuilder or something like this, right? I mean, the only people who can do that are people who are unemployed, or they have jobs where they literally don't do anything. Right? So it's not them that is like special, it's their conditions that are special. Right? I'm telling you, if you're working some kind of accountant, well, accountant possibly might be able to do it because they get busy only on certain quarters. Other quarters are not super busy. Right? But I mean, it's so unrealistic what they're saying, right? So that's what I'm saying. Just don't waste your time on this. It's total nonsense, right? It's like, look at me, I can do it, but I am the prodigy in the game, have good genetics, play the game for 10 to 12 hours every single day for 10 years, and yet he still ends up losing sometimes. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, dude, like, why would you do that? So I'm just saying that, stop wasting your time, okay? Stop wasting your time. Take care.